Now, Madhya Pradesh is the state with highest crime rate against scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. There have been 11,829 cases in Uttar Pradesh in 2019. There were 18,974 arrested as well in Uttar Pradesh in 2019. And when we talk about metropolitan cities, then Jaipur is with the highest crime rate against scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Now, this is one part of the data. Another part is crimes against scheduled caste and scheduled tribes women. Now, there were 3,375 cases of assault in 2019. Now, please remember, these are the cases which are reported, and the number is 3,375. And then when we talk about rape cases of SC/ST women, then it is 2,369 only in year 2019. Now, we have our panel also to discuss this, where we talking about crimes and atrocities against scheduled caste and scheduled tribe communities in 2020. We have Kiruba Munusamy. She is the researcher and advocate, Supreme Court of India, SC rights activist. We have Rahul Son Pimple, activist, Central Committee member, BAPSA, which is Birsa Ambedkar Phule Students Association, which is formed in JNU. We also have Srishti Ranjan, who is a 23-year-old SC/ST rights activist. I want to start with Kiruba Munusamy. Kiruba, I know you must be exhausted answering this question, but the counter that comes from the privileged part of the society is, yes, there are laws to protect the marginalized communities, laws to protect SC/STs, and also why does every crime become about caste? What would you respond to that counter?
So the India itself admits that caste exists, and it has been enforcing disabilities many ways, and that is the reason why we have right to equality clause and also abolition of untouchability clause. And when this abolition of untouchability and right to equality comes into play, there has to be an effective scheme to implement and enforce those equality rights. And that is why special laws like Protection of Civil Rights Act, which was earlier named Untouchability Offences Act, and the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act were enacted. And the special law specifically states, because of the history and tradition of enforcing disabilities on the untouchable communities for so long, the crimes that's been committed against the members of Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes have to be considered as caste-based crimes. So it doesn't come from the very incident of the crime, but also it comes from the structures that enable such crimes that can be committed against untouchable communities. So if you closely look into the structures that are the police institution and if you closely look into the entire Hathras issue, the social, gender and caste hierarchies are the structures that play a vital role. And that structures enable violences against Dalits and Dalit women. And that structures are enabling the upper caste groups like Thakurs to mobilize and even ask for justice for the rapist. So this is how the entire caste system operates. So if you look an issue or a crime against Dalit women, especially women, as sexual violence
of the communities, which adds to their troubles, Kiruba.
I'm sorry?
If we talk about cases that occur in rural areas, cases or atrocities against SC/STs, economic condition also plays a huge role here, because they're poor. That adds up to their troubles and also of their fight for the justice.
So, Arun, they are not poor because they have been, not able to get any job or they don't have any property. They are poor because they have been exploited by the Thakur caste supremacy and the caste system for centuries. So now they are forced to work in the upper caste agricultural lands, and they are forced to, get the meager pay that's been paid on them. So it's just not the poor thing. Even in the economic crisis, caste plays a vital role. So we cannot leave or rule out caste in any of the issues that's been, any of the offences that's been committed against Dalits.
the way we see authorities, treating different communities in a different way is also very shocking. In Hathras case also, there's been a case registered against Chandrasekhar Azad for mobilizing people, for holding a rally in protest of this case, whereas people of other community had been holding congregations.
So this is how the caste impunity operates, Arun. So if you look at the denial of from all the process in this Hathras case, from the denial of registration of the case and not invoking SCST Act and illegally burning the body of the victim, where in most of the atrocity cases we ask for second postmortem. Second autopsy report also have played a vital role in many cases, and the police to come out and make a decision of the medical report itself is something which is unlawful, which is not permitted by law. They cannot make any judgment. The police duty is to register the case, arrest the victim, produce them before the court, and bring them to justice. So if you the entire course of actions that's been happening around the Hathras case clearly show that there's a caste impunity that's been operating for the benefit of the Thakurs, and they are trying to reinforce the caste supremacy by humiliating the victim's family, by forcing narco test on them, and also by humiliating them in all possible ways. They were not allowed to access any services like legal services, or they might also need medical services, or they might need to meet anybody. Why were they blockaded? Why why Section 144 was implemented only on the Dalit neighborhood? And also, this is not the first time, or this is not the first case that the police.
Kiruba, it's like suppressing their voices when media was not allowed to go inside. Not even locals were allowed to get in. And now we have Srishti Ranjan as well. She's a 23-year-old SCST rights activist. Srishti, you've been quite vocal on social media, and you've been outraged by how popular personalities, or let's say celebrities, haven't been very vocal about this case. Does that disturb you?
These people make movies about us, does not take any representation from our community, but makes profit out of our community. But when it's time to speak, they don't come up and speak. If I name people like Ayushmann Khurrana, who made a movie about caste-based atrocity, very similar to what happened in Hathras in Balrampur. But when he put out a statement, he did not mention the caste of the victim. So why do you go ahead and make a movie about it? And why did you only talk about caste when your movie was on release? So many actors like that who are not coming up and speaking up, but have benefited from this community, are all wrong.
Interesting point, and that is what Kiruba has also been saying, and we all agree that caste in these cases matter because it is the ground reality. That is what happens in the interiors, or let's say in urban areas as well. If we have Rahul, okay, we learned that he's not on the broadcast, but thanks Kiruba and Srishti for joining us.